I have been taken out of this place. And I am now around Ahima Kopo. I have gotten to a place. Kumasi number 1. I am now at Kumasi number 2. I have now gotten to Adansi Chechirawire. And suddenly I have moved from there and I have gotten to a junction. The junction on the left hand side, you are going to Akokari. The junction is called Bongobri. I am there right now. What is Bongobri?
We live around that area.
You live around that area. Many years ago, the Lord released a man of God into your life, even to your family. He was called Deborah.
Yes, and he was my
head pastor. Deborah Hamoy. I have been taken out of this place, and I am now around Ahima Kopo. I have gotten to a place. Kumasi number 1. I am now at Kumasi number 2. I have now gotten to Adansi.
Beautiful viewers. Okay, so my name is and this is the show that keeps making you come back for more. That sounds a bit cheesy, I know. All right, so today on the show we are talking about your past, like the people you've dated in the past. What are the things you can do to, get over it? What are some of the steps you have to take? And my panel, everybody on the show is ready. So we'll go for a break. When we come, we'll take it from there. Thank you. Stick to one person and say that, okay, so I was in a relationship with this one, but then I feel like even as I've moved on to this person, I still have to have certain things that has to do with this person. So I have here in the house, on my right,
PG Sebastian, relationship coach.
Please introduce yourself a bit.
Okay, PG Sebastian, relationship coach. I'm also an author, I'm a blogger. I'm also an insurance underwriter at the corporate level. I'm also a social media marketer. My husband and a father of 2.
Oh wow, nice. Okay, and I have also here with me
Elizabeth Owusu-Bwedi. I'm a customer service officer, and then I'm an impact communicator. So I'm also married, and I have 3 children. We all live in Accra.
Alright, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Alright, so I'll start with you. What is dating? What is dating? Because you hear people saying, oh, dating is just being friends with someone, dating is just getting to know someone. Dating doesn't mean you're in a relationship. What is dating?
Well, I think that dating is the period that you get to know someone.
Okay.
So the early moments of a relationship where you're building knowledge, you're building interest, you're trying to be sure whether how you felt about the person when you met them initially is something that is deep-seated, something that you can move on further with, as opposed to, say, courtship, where the relationship has become strictly monogamous, and you have families involved, you have closer relationship involved and everything. Dating is more on the surface, trying to get to know the person for yourself, and then testing the waters, trying to get to know stuff about them.
Dating doesn't mean like you're in a relationship.
Dating doesn't actually mean you're in a very monogamous relationship. So during the dating period, yes, the person could be talking to other people.
So from dating, what's the next step?
So then you get to proper courtship, where it becomes a lot more serious. Then you're thinking about probably engagement, you're thinking about bringing family in, or family people are already involved, and then all that, yes. So you from dating, you migrate to courtship, then you are probably getting ready to marry.
Wow.
Yes.
And it means we all confuse this dating thing, because you see people say we've dated for 10 years.
I wouldn't call it dating.
We've been in a relationship.
Yes, you're actually in a committed relationship. Yes.
How long must one wait before they enter into a new relationship after a break?
Well, it's actually cast in stone, but if you ask me, I'll say that. Give yourself, that's from my perspective, give yourself at least 90 days. That's roughly about 3 months. But if you can't, just play around 6 months or 1 year, if you can. That's what I'm saying, if you can.
Why is that?
Because you will need time to heal. Every relationship leaves its residue in you. It deposits something in you. Whether it's spiritual, whether it's physical, whether it's emotional. I mean, think about it. You've been with one person for, say, 4 years. You learn to talk, you learn to think like the way they think. You learn to get used to, or you get used to their mannerism, their experiences, the way they do things. And you would want to clear yourself from all of that. You understand? Otherwise, then, if you dated a woman, say I'm a guy, so I dated a woman who is into, say, short hair, and they are into a particular line of dressing and everything, and then right after I break up with her, after 3 years or 4 years, and I jump into another relationship with someone else, chances are that I might confuse what the person liked for what my ex liked for what this new other person wants. So I begin to judge this new other person through the lens of my ex, and since they like things they hate and everything, if I'm not careful, I'm projecting it onto this new other person. So sometimes you need to get that time, that chance to clear yourself from the memories, from the hurt, from the pain. And sometimes you also need to heal, which I know we'll be getting into, briefly and soon. But I think that you need to heal. You need some time to get over the wounds, because sometimes relationships don't end on good notes. Sometimes it ends on very bad notes. You actually got dumped. The person dumped you. Literally.
No, I don't need to take that.
Yes. Oh, no, but that's the reality.
Sometimes people break up and then you're like, so who left who?
Exactly.
Because no one wants to admit to that.
Exactly. And sometimes too, you can't help. So you're dating this person, and the person probably get the opportunity to travel outside to go and do their masters or something. Later they call you and tell you that it looks like they may want to stay a bit longer. They're looking at your age and your expectation. You want to move on with your life. So it's not a relationship that on a normal day you would have wanted to break away from. And you realize that you don't hate the person doesn't hate you, but circumstance. The person is looking at it the next 6 years before they marry. But you as a woman say, you're also looking at getting married in the next 2 years. So then you find that imbalance. So then you would have to move on. You understand? So then the feeling is there. So what I advise people is that just take your time, heal from the wound, get over this guy before you move on. If you are not careful, that's when you enter into a rebound relationship. So you find a lot of people, they broke up. In 2 months later, they were in a new relationship. Quickly, they marry. And after 2-3 years, they want a divorce. Because after a while, their mind is cleared. Then they wake up and they're like, oh, that's not the guy I wanted. That's not the woman I wanted. But then at that moment, because of pain and everything, they got into a rebound relationship. So I always advise people when you come and tell you, give yourself time. Between my ex and my wife, I was single for 2 years.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
I know what I'm
You
saying.
weren't talking to anyone?
Oh, so yes, so that's where the dating thing comes in. So I went on a few dates, but then as you get to build data or profile about the person, you get to find, that's not what I want, and then you pull out. That's not what I want, and you pull out. But eventually, when I found one person, we were able to date for a longer period and married.
Okay, so how do you deal with a past relationship that almost led into marriage? and maybe invitation cards were printed, and after 2 weeks, like 2 weeks to the wedding was cancelled, and you guys have to go your separate ways. How would you tell someone who is going through this to deal with it, like to move on? How would you advise the person to heal? What are some of the steps they have to take in order to heal? From that?
I think that every breakup, regardless of the time they had to marry, and then they had to break up, regardless, I think that every breakup is unique on its own. So let's say I was dating one person, and then 2 weeks or a month to our wedding, we broke up. It could be that they cheated. It could be that I found out that they were HIV positive. And while it is not a stigma thing, I am thinking that as an individual, I don't want to be married to such a person. I found out that probably there was a material information they withheld. Yes. Now I found out. And I think that based on that, I can't trust them, so I'm breaking up. So it's different. But what I would say is that the first thing you do is to admit that this relationship is over. And if you are unwilling to go on with the person, or the person is unwilling to go on with you, then that in itself tells you that there is no need, or it doesn't serve any purpose for you to hold on to the past, because you found something you didn't like about the person, so you called it off. So then why are you living in the pain?
What if the person called?
Yes. So the person also found something about you that they also called off. And then they've moved on. So why are you also living in the pain? So it's something that you tell them that first and foremost, let it go. Admit that this relationship is over. There is nothing you can do about it. It's just like you've spilled the milk. It's easier said than done. I understand when it comes to emotions, because different people handle different things differently. The same way somebody goes through a particular event and then they lead to depression. Yeah. Another person goes through it, they don't get depressed. Exactly.
As if nothing happened.
Thank you. So emotional maturity, psychological maturity, and mental strength and fortitude will play a great role or part in all of this. But I think that whether you are weak or you're strong, one thing that you need to come to terms with is that the thing is over. And actually, there is nothing you can do about it. So let it go. The second thing that I would advise people is that admit and accept your part of the problem. Okay? Because sometimes you find out some things about the person. That means you have to let the person go. Question is, how come you dated a person for 3 years and probably didn't find out? Sometimes you realize that when we are dating, we play the ostrich. We put our head in the sand and we don't want to see anything again. Everybody's prompting you that this person, be careful. But you don't want to open your eyes. Sometimes the signs are there, but you love the person so much, you don't want to face that reality. So it gets to a point where everything hits you in the face, then you have to make that decision. For 3 years, if you had probably asked the right questions, you would have probably come to that conclusion. If you had probed a little bit, we don't want to rock the boat, PG, some of these guys, immediately you do that, they will run away. And sometimes you need to be, I don't want to look like I'm driving all the men away.
That is pretense.
Yes. But I tell them, listen, if the guy will go, they will go. Yeah. If you ask the question now and they will go, if you marry them 10 years, if you ask the same question, they will go.
That's true.
So then just let them go. You don't waste your time, Wow. So yes, I tell them that no problem, unless maybe something that you are totally unaware of. Say the person had a child and there was no way you could find out because the other family is probably elsewhere in another country, or maybe the person likes women and you probably, because you don't live together, you never found out. But whichever way it is, if there is a part that you need to admit that you are also responsible for, admit it, and then move on. And then another thing that I tell them is that don't keep it to yourself. Don't pretend that everything is fine. If you're broken up with the person, just let people know you've broken up with them. Let your close friends know, regardless of what they will tell you and all the how we told you and whether they will laugh at you. Just tell, because sometimes when you keep some of these things to yourself, that's when it becomes a bit too much for you to handle. So yeah, these are some of the things.
I asked a question and you mentioned that in order for you to move on, you have to clear yourself, like your head, because sometimes when you stay in a relationship with someone, as long as you people go forward, you people begin to think alike.
Exactly.
So if my question is to you, if you are going to think alike and you have to clear your mind, when expensive gifts are being given to you and you want to move on, do you have to back to the man in order for you not to remember certain things that happen? Because I know that if a child happens to be come in the relationship like accidentally, you can't say that if you get. But when there is a car, a building, in order to move on, what would you do?
I think that if you think it's going to be something that is going to give you memories and you can't stand it, then give it out. Return it. Return it. You are trying to heal.
Okay. So what if it's a child?
If it's a child, keep the child. That one you can't do anything about it. Keep the child. But make sure is that the child is part of you and it's part of the person. So have the child as you. Okay. But if it's a material thing, please, if you think it's going to be a bother, just give it out. Return it. If the person is not coming for it.
Like, my son reminds me so much of my ex, and I don't talk to him, and I don't want to even remember anything about him. But then when I see him, but then you hardly hear that he bought me a Range Rover and reminds me of, so I want to. So in healing, what would you also advise?
Well, when it comes to human beings, it's a little bit different. And then again, it's just few relationships where it breaks up and then the couple are not talking, even where there is a child.
Yeah.
You understand? Where there is a child, usually the couple still communicate. They try to keep the communication very civil. They try to keep it very, very basic. Nobody's on the phone chatting with each other and then everything. It's more of us and when, and on the need-to-know basis. So we need to pay the school fees. Okay, so maybe part of the separation arrangement is that from time to time the child will come and spend some time with you. So when the time is coming, the lady or the guy will just pick the phone and call the other person that, you know what, it's your time, come pick the child. So these things you can't help it. It's a human being involved, you can't help it. But when it comes to, say, gifts, material things, the person gave you a Range Rover and trust me, yes, it bought you a beautiful house. And oh my God, you just love this house, right? He's your ex. What do you do about what she is to your ex? Because some women can also sponsor men, but what do you do? This is what I think. I think that if you can probably sell it to buy a similar property. I mean, yes, of course, still the same thing. It's still money. It's not money.
Okay, so I bought out of selling this other car.
Maybe talking now.
But you see, in retrospect, thinking about it, you realize that every relationship comes with its own hurts and benefits. Okay, relationship comes with its own hurts and benefits. Take it as one of the benefits. No, so for me,
no matter how you feel.
Yes, for me, if it is something that I think brings me unwanted memories, because some memories are they are just there for being memories' sake. They don't cause a lot of pain. But if this memory is causing you pain, and normally you don't find them in cars. No, you don't find them in cars or in houses. Usually it's like usually it's like a ring. Usually it's
a
wristwatch. Something quite intimate. Cars are not intimate. Houses are not so intimate, but it's like little
necklace
things.
that have both of their names.
Exactly. So those ones matter. Okay, those ones matter. And then again, you should also remember that after that relationship, you need to move on. If you're a woman and say you dated a guy who was there, this guy got you a Range Rover, this guy got you a G-Wagon, this guy got you like something mega. Okay. And then after this relationship, you need to move on. I am sure the new guy who comes will not be so comfortable seeing the car around you. You understand?
And you of course have to tell him
exactly
how you got these things.
Exactly. And sometimes some guys don't care. That is fine. And you might also probably some guys don't care because maybe I also have my own money. And bought your Range Rover, that kind of thing. So long as you can prove to this new guy that there is no connection between us, this is just a gift I got. It's not even like a parting gift. This is a gift I got while we were in the relationship, and then it's over. But if you want to build a stronger level of trust, and if you want this guy to be super comfortable, you can just sell off the car. Because it's not the financial interest that caused the memory. It's actually the object. That's a car itself. So if you want to be comfortable, I mean, it's not even a car, but it's a house. So then you start dating this guy, and you are thinking, I have this huge house at East Legon. Why do we have to go and stay in a small house in this community? It's not like your house is bad. I mean, you hustled and you got your house. house. Just so happened that I dated a rich guy. He got me this huge mansion. But I'm thinking that we want to stay in the house because it's very comfortable for us and all that. Then the guy's going to have a problem. That might be a bit uncomfortable. Sometimes your little conflicts and your little misunderstandings sometimes might come out of your mouth, and then it might create the impression that he is not a better man. So sometimes if you live in, say, a house like this, it's of a particular value. When you sell this house off, you can get a similar house in a similar neighborhood for the same price.
Not
so
the
then you
same neighborhood.
Yes, not the same neighborhood.
Not
At
the
least
same
then
neighborhood.
you even change the memory. Exactly. I think yes, if you
We
can,
need to format
if you
the
can.
memory.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, and for instance, if you happen to be in the same workplace with maybe your ex,
Okay.
or the same church, or the same, maybe you guys are church workers, maybe choir, ushers, and you break up. Maybe you guys broke up on a very bad note. Like, do you have to move, like resign from the church, or resign from the work and move to a different church? How do you go about this? Because this happens all the time.
It does.
And I mean, you can't go and talk to anybody because you're not even supposed to be in the office. I mean, some companies,
Some companies,
okay,
yes.
or others allow it. So,
Yes.
for instance, it happens to be a company that you cannot even marry him that in the same, like, to the a person you work with. How do you go about it?
Okay, so I believe that you also have your own purpose. You also have your own dreams that you have to pursue. It's just one part of you that has failed.
My head can make people do things.
That is if you have something that you think when you go to, you would have that financial support. But if you don't, it's just a relationship. I would not advise.
Because I feel like if you don't have a sound mind, you can't deliver.
You can't deliver.
So if you happen to be in the same working environment with this person, you have to deliver to be paid. So if you are not, if all of a sudden, because you go through a breakup, you become, you don't do anything, you come to work and you are all like, you don't do anything,
It's a phase.
Zero, nothing.
You need to understand that it's a phase, okay? For me, when something happens to me, I give myself, I call it shock absorbers. And I give myself like 3 days up to 1 week.
Hey, 1 week gives out.
No, so you know yourself.
That is more than breakup.
You know yourself. You know yourself. You have to get your work going. If you are sacked right now, where are you going to? The guy will still be there or the lady will still be there. What are you going to do? Be focused. Deal with the facts. Deal with the issues. What happened is the breakup that has come, but I'm saying you still have this work. You need the financial support. If your parents are in Fanchinebra and they don't have any, they are even depending on you. You can't afford to lose your job. I would not advise that you lose your job. Maybe you are in school. I dated one. Let me give you an example with myself. I dated one gentleman, and we're in school. We're doing our masters then, 2010. I was doing my masters with him, and we broke up. I actually broke up the relationship, but it was because I wasn't having value in that relationship, and I needed him to go. Okay, but I still passed my exams because I need it. My father had paid over $1,000, and I can't go and tell him that I failed. Why? Because my relationship failed. No.
So your head was still straight.
Yes. I go to my bed and I will cry, but still I was focused. When it comes to books, I was focused. So the same advice I'll give to somebody: if your relationship fails, focus on other things. As you are healing, as you try to move on, okay, you can travel, you can learn a new skill, and so you do not have to let other things go, because you don't have to lose other things because one part of you has failed. No, I don't know what Sebastian.
I totally agree with her. Even though the practicality of it can be a bit difficult and daunting, you dated this guy, so your routine has become synchronized. Everybody knows that in the morning the two of you walk and go and buy wachi or kinky. Everybody knows that in the morning the two of you wait for each other before you take your breakfast. You do this. You probably
come together.
You probably pool cars. Sometimes you decide that okay, today let's go with your car. The next time, the next week let's go with your car. So everybody gets to know that the two of you are together, even though your company might prohibit. Yes, that some companies accept it, some don't. But regardless of it, your colleagues will get to know that the two of you are in a relationship. That's where the pain is. Okay, where you break up and suddenly you would have to stop all of this. Then that is where the questions start coming. So usually the pain is not just about the two of you losing each other, but it's the environment. So now people begin to, and it's even compounded, or it actually gets out of hand when you can't trust the guy or you can't trust the woman, because some people talk. And for a guy who is a loose talker, or a guy who is immature, or the kind of guys who kiss and tell, they just want to prove that they are the men, and throwing their weight around. Kind of thing. That even gets more painful, because you know that anytime this guy is with his boys, they're just insulting you, and you're sharing your private, intimate moments. Yes. So the national service girls. Oh, I pity them. It's so bad, and I hope they will learn from this. But yes, it can be very, very painful if you can, while it is not accepted, if you can, and it's something that you can deal with. When I started, I talked about the fact that people have their own different emotional fortitude. Okay, some people are strong emotionally, others are not. If you think that you are struggling to cope, in the aftermath of the breakup, and affecting your work, because like you said, we are all being paid for that job, and as long as you are not delivering, it can affect you. The first thing I would advise is that just have a conversation with your boss. Have a conversation with your boss, because unless you haven't built that kind of relationship, yes, but if you don't, have a conversation with a senior person who can talk to your boss. Someone should know that you're going through a phase. You understand? Because you see, it might not necessarily even be something that happened to you at work. What if it's just your regular relationship, but your husband or your wife is not around, but you're still going through that wahala? It's still the same emotions, and you're still going to face it. So talk to someone in the office that you can trust, at least for them to talk to your boss, so they can cut you some slack. It's very important that during this period, somebody appreciates it. I have had my own personal experience before. Time might probably not permit me to share, but when I also went through a breakup, and then I had to talk to my boss talked to her boss, and I remember one day I just went to her office to sign some documents, and then the woman said, "Oh, George, I had X, Y, Z," and I said, "Yeah." It's like, "Oh, sit down, let's talk." We talked for like 30 minutes. That conversation became my guiding principle in life, and that helped me to stay for 2 years. I met my wife. That has become the crux of the argument, the crux of the direction or the guidance I always give to people when they break up from relationship. You understand? It's not about this topic, but she told me a few things, and it mattered. So sometimes have that conversation with someone in the office that you can trust. Let them talk to the person that you directly report to, so they can give you some space. Yeah. If they realize, and once they get to know what you're going through, then they begin to also go down a little bit, and then they begin to focus on you. So now this time when they come and your head is on the table, they quickly call you to the office. Are you okay? And then that is when they themselves might probably go to the HR and say that, what, this person is going through this because of X, Y, Z. Can you move one of them to another department? Just so that the two of them are not meeting each other. Then they can just call you and say that, hey, we want to take you to this branch for like a few minutes. Can you do that just so you can heal? Is that okay? If you think you would need that, then you get to be given that. But I think that that's, first and foremost, you need to talk to somebody. Then you also need to tell yourself, just as she said, that this is the work for me. First, I shouldn't have even gotten myself in this mess. But then you are in it, because when love strikes, you can't really help it. You fell in love and you thought that this was going to go somewhere.
What about the church environment?
For the church environment, that's quite difficult. And you can handle it, and it won't actually get bad. You can also go through the same process by probably talking to your pastor and then helping you go through it. Because if you're dating somebody in the church, the idea is that you don't keep it from your pastor. You don't keep it from your head pastor or direct. That churches have, I go to Lighthouse, and we have shepherds. Because we might probably talk to your shepherd, or you might probably talk to your pastor, or you might probably talk to your bishop. Regardless of the relationship depending on the relationship that you have with them. If one of you would have to be moved from, say, the two of you are, let's say, in a power, or the two of you are, say, in the same ministry, say, a power ministry, then if the two of you would have to be moved into different ministries or whatever, that's fine. But if the other person start dating in the church, again, that's where the pain is. Because then, PD, and if I happen to be this person, trust me, I'm going to rub it in your face. Because when I'm in love, I let people know I'm in love. And I'm the type of person who likes to display affection, hold hands, hug in public, kiss in public. I would do all that. So then, yes, I might probably just rub you off in the wrong way. So you might probably ask yourself, which church is closer to me? let me just relocate there for a while. Yes, because
So there's nothing wrong with you exiting to maybe a new
no, there is nothing. It's all part of the
your healing.
Yes, it's all part of the healing process. Now, when you think you've gotten over the person and you can actually feel comfortable staying in their presence, then you can do that. Yes, but you should always find a way of healing yourself first.
All right, so I'll be going to Facebook and YouTube to read the comments. I'm sure they have some
Right.
questions for you both. Okay, time heals.
Time heals, yes. But if you don't heal it well, if you are not conscious about it, the top might look like it's healed, but the wounds will still be festering beneath it. So that's why people think that, I've gotten over this person, I've gotten over that person. It's because probably after a breakup for like 6 months or for like 1 year, they haven't met each other, so they think they've gotten over. Until they actually meet, they realize that the feelings are still there. So sometimes, don't leave it to time. Try to deal with the issues and then heal. Then time will perfect it for you. Yes, but don't just keep quiet about it and hope that with
So
time.
how do you know you are healed with time?
When you are with the person and
You wouldn't really feel
feel that connection again.
you wouldn't really miss the person's absence, and your mind is clear when you are doing things. Okay, so if you actually, like you said, maybe go together to buy the toy, you can actually go confidently.
Yes.
You know, you can actually walk confident. When you meet the person, you might even be able to greet the person and then move.
Yes.
And go. And you will know. You will.
Okay, so what kind of relationship you want to have with your ex?
Well, I have a very strict no ex friendship relationship. I'm sorry.
As long as you're done, you're done.
Yes. I don't look in the rear mirror. I don't.
So what would you advise someone out there?
I would always tell you that. Listen, I've seen a lot of good relationship end because of exes.
Okay.
There are these exes that won't just leave. They just keep one foot in the door. They ensure that the door is not properly locked. The next time you start talking to that fine girl, that fine guy, they just send you this. They start sending you text. Hey, it's been a while, you know, and they know all the right buttons to press. They know, because they've been with you for like 3 years or 4 years. They know your weakness, and probably you are trying to discover this new person, and then you yourself, you've been asking yourself, so I'm going to start this whing again. I'm going to start it. Then the same some will just show up, call them.
Because I told you I picked
Right.
questions from people outside, and someone asked, said, I'm in a relationship with a lady, we are not married, but my ex and I communicate, and she wants me to, my beloved now wants me to block my ex. And it's not as if we are married, so why should I block my ex because I'm in a relationship with you?
I wouldn't say block the person. But what business do you have? If the two, what business? Why are you talking? The question is, if the two of you wanted to keep that conversation, why didn't you fix your problems?
Exactly.
Okay. But there could be, like I mentioned, this guy probably traveling outside, and therefore you have to move on with your life. So the two of you can't marry.
You are seeing the new person.
Exactly. So what it means? No. So I understand, but what it means, at least between the two of you, there isn't any bad blood. So then the temptation is there for you to communicate. But listen, show respect. You're seeing a new person. Let this new person feel that you are also committed to him or her, and you are in the now with them. My argument has always been that, listen, you might say that, my ex is a pastor, and pastors are not dangerous, and we even dated for 3 years, there was no sex, so if I'm chatting with her and with him, why are you scared? Well, his ex is a stripper. And if we all decide that we are going to go back to chatting with our ex, trust me, you are the one who's going to lose. Because my ex really wants to come back. So what is good for the geese is good for the gander. If you don't want me to go back to my crazy exes, don't go back to your angelic exes. Let's just concentrate on the now.
On the now.
If you bump into each other at the mall, hey, how you doing? How are your parents? How's your mom? How's your sis? Hey, the other time you were talking about this, is everything fine? All right, okay, my greetings to them. 2 minutes, 30 minutes,
No
2 minutes, 30 seconds, or whatever. You just move on.
No phone calls.
No phone calls.
Phone calls. What are you chatting about?
Unless maybe there's something important the person wants
What's
to find
important?
out. No, sometimes someone knows me. We have like you have maybe you are doing this thing, you have this company and you do certain things.
Okay.
So maybe they might want to recommend someone to you. So, oh hello, someone wants to do this. That is normal.
Well, that is
Not just calling to like, oh hello.
well, that is normal. That is normal. But you see, you need to understand. It's just like always have the petrol spark thing in mind. Sometimes you are in your corner,
This
playing with your
going to
sparks, and then the petrol still
By the time you
somewhere.
realize you have to meet the
If
person
you
and
know
have
that when the
meetings.
two of them meet, it's going to cause an explosion.
Exactly.
You don't. He's not the only person in that line of business, or she's not the only person in that line of business.
Yeah.
Maybe your ex is into events management or decor, stuff like that, and then you know this person is, yes, it's only nice for you to help hedge, even though the two of you are not there, but you know that this woman is looking for an opportunity to step in again. You understand? So then the least opportunity, they come into the picture and then the conversation starts. For me, ultimately, the question I ask myself is, how do you want the other person in your life to feel? Because I'm sure, even we the men, when we find out that our girlfriends are chatting with the most random person in her life, we get jealous. And then to think that you are chatting with your ex, and you expect that, the person should just keep quiet and take it. No. I think
You'll be and
yes.
you'll be creating doubts in the person's mind. Okay?
A lot of
You're not committing. You're actually not committing. You still want you are eating your cake and you want to have it.
Alright.
Yeah.
Not at all.
A lot of people actually break up in relationships. Sorry, they start new relationship and they don't commit so much. And every time the other person is trying to get them to commit, they are a little bit reluctant. And it's because the other person doesn't seem to be committed. There is that part of that person who is still connected to the ex. And so this person is also asking, do I really want to do this? Well, let's just stay here and have the fun of it. But the truth is that there is a fear, and that fear is the person's connection to the ex.
Yeah.
Okay, what are some of the tests and checks you have to do before you know that, okay, now I'm ready to enter into a relationship?
Tests and checks.
Right.
Okay. So I think for me, I'll check myself. Am I ready now to move in? Okay. Sebastian suggested minimum 6 months, but depending on you yourself, 6 months is not enough. You still haven't gotten over this gentleman, over this lady. Be sure you are ready to move on to a new one. Don't go bleeding on people.
How do you know you're sure? Sometimes our emotions play with us. Like you feel like you've moved on, but then you enter into a relationship and you just
so you're not jumping into the relationship. Like he explained earlier for us, you are going to date the person. So as you are talking, you are engaging each other, you are talking, and then maybe you are having some small meetups, and you get to know. When you meet the person, you return home. What is the connection? How is the chemistry like? Are you still thinking about the other person, or now you are focusing more? Are you bonding now? When you get to know that, okay, now this person is making me laugh, I think I've gotten. Then you don't even kind of think about the other person anymore, and you want to start something with this other person. But where you are having conversations, you are dating, and you realize that you still have some sparks for the other person, then you are not ready, my sister. Yeah.
Well, so for me, my analogy has always been to compare it with food. Okay, no matter how good the food is, if you are not hungry, you can't eat it.
You don't know someone who has eaten it.
Charlie. Listen, if you are not hungry, you realize that you try. So the food that you can probably eat everything hands down without blinking, now you are struggling or you eat half. That's when you know you are not hungry. Okay. So in the same way, if you get into a new relationship or you want to start seeing someone and realize that you're not so committed to the person, like that edge is there, you're not getting the feeling, you're not getting
the person calls you and
you're like, yeah, you understand that every time you are with a person, you are being petty. You are petty. You can easily compare the person to this other person. Then you know that you are not ready.
You're not.
I think some people have a problem with being lonely. Some people have problems with being alone. They become so dependent on people. They always want to be talking to people. They always want to be affirmed by people. So when they dress and nobody tells them they are looking good. They can't help it. Their hair, somebody has to say it is good. Their dress, somebody has to say it is good. You know, those people are very needy and clingy. Those are the people who can stay out of relationship for like a long time. And people who have this strong, confident sense of purpose and sense of self. I mean, like they have a mirror in their house. And once the mirror tells them that you are okay. And those people can actually go for like 2 years. Like, I don't need anybody in my life, you understand? So for me, I think that you need to get to that place where you know that you've moved on. You are not hungry for the person. You can actually go the whole day and then nobody's talking to you for 2 hours and you are okay.
And you're fine.
You know, you realize that you don't need that person's affirmation, that person's confirmation, that person's approval of anything. Then you know that I think I've moved on with my life. I can actually do what I want and I can actually stay. You're confident in yourself and everything. Then you know that, I think I have healed. Now I can start a new thing. But once you begin to get into a relationship and you realize, or once you get into a relationship and realize that you're still connected to this person, now you're judging this new person through the eyes of the old person, they know that you haven't healed. You know, for instance, so a typical example is, say, your boyfriend cheated on you. So now, and maybe there was always the time where when we are talking, holding his face down. And then there's this mechanic who calls at 10 p.m. And, you know, so all the signs are there. And then you're dating this guy who always receives the phone call. Once the call comes, excuse me, I'm coming, just give me 2 minutes. Goes out to come back and say, oh, it's work, you know, you don't work with FBI, you don't work with BNI. So really, why do you have to go out and, like, do a money laundering? You know, like, why do you have to go out, you know? So then you have all this. Then you start dating a new person. The new person always keeps their phone down.
Suspicion.
The new person has mechanic calling them at odd hours, or hairdresser at this time calling them at odd hours. So the new person also wants to go out. And then anytime it happens, you get furious, you get angry, you get scared. Then you know you haven't healed. Because you are still carrying baggage and emotions from the previous
Also the new one.
Yes. Because what your ex did led to infidelity. You think that anybody who does that is also cheating. But me, my phone is always on vibrate. And I always want to keep my phone face down. Not because of anything. I don't know how it even happened. But my phone is always face down. But when I receive a call I don't out, there might be certain things that I do that may be similar to what another person did that led to cheating. If you start dating me and you start giving me that stress, I'll run away. Then that shows that also probably moved on.
You haven't healed.
Yes.
Okay. I remember I saw this kid on social media and the man had saved someone's name as my special wife.
Okay.
And the person called and the girlfriend said, why would you save someone's name as my special wife's name about another one? So the woman picks, the lady picks and the guy's mom. So it's like, hello, who is this? Why are you calling my boyfriend at this time? And the woman is, and the mother is like, don't you have my number again? Are you trying to say my son has deleted my number from? I said, oh, sorry, I didn't get it because of how he saved it. So the woman still had the phone in her hand, and then another call came through, mechanic. And then he picked, and it was like, I'm also son, what should I do for you? And then the lady picks on the other side and said, this one you are sounding like this, I'm sure your wife is there. He said, yeah, it was like, He said, okay, is my money ready? I want to see you now. I said, okay, on my way. And they said, I'm also the mechanic wants to see you, so I'll see you later. And then they went. But they almost fought when the mom called and the name was saved as special one. Like, this man is smart enough to know that I have to save my girlfriend's name as a mechanic. The mother's name as a special one.
To avoid issues.
No, trust me.
This is sad.
To avoid issues.
This is talking about the phone. This is just an information that probably is not important, but I think I need to share it with people. When people send you WhatsApp, when you ask somebody to send your contact through WhatsApp, usually how the person has saved their name. If you're not careful and you also save it like that, you will probably get yourself into trouble. So a colleague of mine, I needed a colleague of mine, husband's number. So this colleague is a female, and that husband's number. And she has saved the husband's name like something, like very intimate name.
For instance, my love.
Yes, and I think I was in a hurry, so I also just say a number. And then one day I was just looking for the guy's number. And I looked, I couldn't find it. So I called her and I said, oh Charlie, your husband, I don't remember how I saved it. So the lady gave me the number. And when I was the man, then it started ringing. I saw how I had saved the number. I was like, so if for any reason this guy should call me at any time and my wife is close by, my wife's still, how do I explain?
My love.
So some of these things we need to be careful how we say it. I said that was just my way.
Okay, in moving on after a relationship, like the heartbreaks and all, sometimes you have women who have male friends. And maybe you confide in these people. So maybe there's a particular one that you always confide in. So this person happens to know your weakness. How do you know that, okay, I'm ready to date, and this person I always confide in is the right person for me to date? Does it even, because I feel like it is wrong, because the person might be like pressing your move button because the person sees you going through a phase and wants to capitalize on that. So how do you know that, okay, this person is not really interested in a relationship, but maybe they want to have fun? How do you?
So I really wanted you to do that. All right. Okay. All right. So
when you finish, I'll just read them.
Normally, it's something that I don't encourage. I don't encourage. The people who know you, because you see, while they know you and they help you, they know you and they help you because you are friends. You are cool. So I go to cheat. I have this particular female friend I talk to. So I just go, I talk about it, and then we laugh about it and all that. Then let's say I get into a very bad breakup, and so I start chatting with her, and then I want to date her. Once she moves from a friend into a lover, the equation changes.
Yes.
The dynamics of the friendship changes. This time around, all the tricks that I used on my ex to cheat, she has all of them in her hand. So now, once I call and I say, Charlie, I'm at this place, she's thinking twice. Is this guy really at this place? Because in his last two relationships, it was the same. I'm in a board meeting, I'm in a meeting that led to creating two different. So the format may be the same, So trust is never there. And anytime you are talking, you realize that you have to struggle to prove yourself. It's never good. Then again, the bit about the rebound relationship, because sometimes, the break is a bit nasty and it's a bit bad. So the person is around, very nice, and then you're talking to the person, so one thing leads to the other, and then probably you sleep together. And then you might just use that to think that, we kind of like each other, and then you start dating. But then, like you're saying, it's because it happened at a moment of vulnerability. You get to commit. But over a period, sometimes it may work out, sometimes it may not work out. But you need to be very careful. I personally don't approve of that, and I don't encourage that. But I know a few people who got into rebound relationships with people that they've been confiding in over a period, and eventually it actually led, yes.
Because there are some situations where the people have their confidants have turned out to be their husband or their wives.
Yes.
So I'm going to ask you how it play out.
It happens because sometimes the person you are confiding in is actually somebody who really likes you.
Yeah.
So let's also get that clear. So I'm always coming to talk to her about my problems.
Because of the closure.
No, sometimes it's not.
Sometimes I even like to advise you that this person you are dating is good for you, but you don't listen to them, and then you go and then you come back to the same person to tell them whatever went on.
Yes.
And maybe they might have some interest in you, or sometime at point they realize that they have some interest in you.
Yes.
So I think it would depend on how the two of you go about the whole issue, and you yourself, the person you are confiding in. Maybe you really have to check if truly the person is interested in you, or they are just hitting the emotional buttons.
Okay. All right, so let me take some questions and comments. Moving on comes difficult most when you've eaten the red velvet meat pie and you tend to miss the adventure. How do you move on? Michael Black.
Well, sex always changes the equation. It always does.
No, but I mean, you're in a relationship. Why should you have sex?
Well, in this 21st century, that's something a lot of people don't understand. Once I always tell people that it's kind of fun how people have sex before they even get to find out that the name they use on Facebook is probably not their name.
Yeah.
So they haven't sex before they even get to know the person. real name.
That is the
Like they're having sex on the first date. Oh, so they've been chatting in box for like 2 weeks, and then within 2 weeks, it's quickly escalated from hi, hello to nude. So then they go to watch a movie at the mall, right? The car park, they're having sex. Then later they get to find out that so is the fresh boy young money your real name? No. Is your father called Mr. Young Money? Are you kidding? That's just a social media term. Like my name is called so and so and again. So. You are a Ghanaian. No, I'm not a Ghanaian. I can't date you. You know, so basically people are having sex with very little commitment. Very, very little commitment. And I think that it's something that it's a conversation for another time. But once sex comes in, it breaks a lot of things. Sex is not just a physical activity. It has its spiritual implication, has its emotional implications. And once the two of you get into that space, your thinking is clouded. Trust me, your thinking is clouded. If it is a bad sex, you're probably sitting and thinking, how will I let this guy go? Or how would I let this woman go after they've gotten to know that the sex is bad? So even bad sex can even become a form of bondage. If it's a good sex, you're thinking, I want more of this. So you don't want to let it go. So whichever way it is, you understand? And think about it. You have sex with somebody, say you had sex, and most of the time it's with the guys. You have sex with a woman who wants more, and a woman who probably threw herself at you. So you're thinking, this woman, she's this, I don't want this kind of woman. But you're also thinking, Charlie, the end of the day, someone that snapped my finger, I get it. I don't have to pay money, I don't have to take her to Kempinski or anything just to have one sex. I mean, this woman is there. If I want her to come and stay in my house, you understand? So,
where a lady and a gentleman, they are not really in a relationship. I don't want to use situationship, but then they are not dating.
Yeah.
But then whenever the lady needs sex, she can call this person and say, I'm down, please I need you. When the guy needs it, and this has been going on for like 14 years.
So that's sex buddies. And so now...
So when they get married to different people...
Exactly, and the people they are married to don't... Because trust me, if it wasn't good, they wouldn't have been doing this for 14 years. And then again, they trusted each other. They would have committed. So there's no trust, so they wouldn't want to commit. Yes, they wouldn't want to commit and spend their life together, but the sex is good. So they don't also want to go apart. So chances are that Madame will marry, Mr. will marry, but the two of them will still be sex buddies. So from time to time they meet and have sex. You understand? So yes, if a relationship breaks up and the sex is good, it can be a big problem. And it is something that is happening. A lot of ladies are going through that. Guys are a bit easy to move on. But the ladies, once they taste it and this guy is good, because for ladies, a lot of things will have to go into lovemaking. Okay, it's not just about enter and come out. It's a whole
What if
package.
it's not sex?
Well, if it's not sex, then it could be, again, for a lady, it could be a lot of little things. Ladies are more nuanced than guys, you know. And it's more interested in you make her feel. So the little compliment, the little gifts, the little attention and everything. While guys are the big things, ladies look at the little things. So the lady ends up with this guy who is like so rich, buys you a house like this, buys you a Range Rover, but the guy's never there. The guy picks calls and when he wants to pick a call. And when he sees your mail for 10 minutes calls, he won't call you back. This guy can just disappear for like 3 days and show up. Oh no, I'm sorry. I was in a meeting, I was doing X, Y, Z. You are talking to this guy.
You know it happens.
Of course, I'm actually sharing real life stuff.
It
There was this lady who was dating this guy. She's talking to this guy, and then I don't hear from me like 3 days. And that's when he calls me, he's in the US. I'm like, what are you doing in the US? Oh, I came to chase some business. You know, like the guy doesn't even have the courtesy, you know, to tell this guy that, oh, this lady, I'll be traveling tomorrow, that kind of thing. So you have this guy who has all this money, but then the little things that you were enjoying with your ex,
And that is what the
it's not there. So then you've moved on, but then these little things are preventing you from actually moving on, and it can be a problem.
Let me take this from Grace Sonko. Said, "Will keep the property and every other thing. Work hard on myself and move on. Occupy myself with work and take care of my child and take good care of myself as well. Who knows what God has for me in the future? Note, in all things, give thanks. It might be the will of God for both of us. So man or woman, work on yourself to heal and don't allow the past to affect your future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely profound.
Okay, and Vera, Ado said, I won't even remember your name. How much were your gifts? I am enjoying it. Eraja Yeboah. Oh, I won't return it, share, especially if the person will hurt me. I must have some compensation for my wasted emotions and time.
I agree.
Agreed.
I agree.
Enjoyed. Well, but I mean, they both enjoyed it.
Yes,
So
of course, they both enjoyed. They both hurt.
Yes.
They both hurt each other. So
But I have the gift.
yes.
Okay, so Becca Datson said, LOL, so true, so true. No one will say the Range Rover reminds me of you, so I'm giving it out. That's true. I'm yet to hear something like that, yes. Vera Ado said, why must I return it? I just want to return it to
No,
We won't.
they won't.
They won't. And Raja Yeboah again says, I will sell the stuff and keep the money. Becca Datson, most of the times, we know from the beginning that the relationship wouldn't work. Most of the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
How do you know?
The signs will be there, which is why most of the time when you meet people who have probably started talking, started dating, you ask them, so what are you guys doing? Like, what is the end game? They tell you, we are not sure, but let's see when we get to the bridge, we'll cross it. They know it is not, there isn't much to point to say that this thing is leading to marriage. But that's for some people. I mean, I've met guys who are like players, but then they meet that woman, the woman, and they are like, Charlie, it looks like I have to hang my boots. Charlie, I'm done. I'm done playing around. Like, this is the girl. There are some ladies who are like crazy. I mean, like, they have the kind of men they chase, or the kind of men who come after them. But then they find this other guy who might probably not be like any of the guys, but then in their hearts, they know that this is the guy, this is the person.
The red flags are always
yes.
there.
So the flags are there, and then you know the green light is also there. When you know that this is going to work, you know from beginning. You may know most of the time.
You know the guy is abusive, but
yes.
you are there.
But sometimes too you can't tell. But most often you can't.
No, but from the beginning, you didn't know who's abusive.
No, there are some not abusive, but you know emotionally how when you are talking, how the person interrupts you, when you have to take a decision, how the person comes across.
Yes.
Okay, the flags are the red flags are always there, but we do not take precautions. We do not take the bull by the horns and say go your way, and then we go deep into the relationship and we have issues.
Sometimes the idea is that let's see as we go on. And I always tell people,
25 years.
can you imagine? The person has acquired this trait over a period of time, and then you
6
they
months
change
before
because
you get married, 6
yes,
months, 1 year,
and then they change. You understand?
They even say, when we marry, I'll change.
No.
And I always tell people that.
I'll change.
I always tell people that watch the kind of things they do to others and with others. To give you an indication of what they are doing to you or what they are likely to do to you. So you are dating a guy who probably doesn't talk to the mother or the sisters, or a guy who is very, very disrespectful in the way he talks about women. And then you say that, he doesn't talk to me like that. I know he has a anger problem. You're dating a guy who's always fighting with all the drivers in traffic. Like, pip, roll down and insult. And then you're thinking, nah, it's not like that. What do you want to see again? You see, because when people are with you, they fake it. They edit their lives. They pretend. So sometimes you need to catch them in their natural setting. For you to know that, this is who they are. Don't always listen to what they are telling you. Because what they are telling you could be edited, carefully choreographed. But just catch them in their normal environment. That's how come people say that, have the two of you fought before? Have you had any serious misunderstanding? When you say no, they say that, try and see. Sometimes you need to see them angry. Or you need to see them broke. Because people are different when they have money. You need to see them broke, or you need to see them rich. You need to see them with certain experience, or within certain experience, and you'll be shocked what will come out here.
Okay. In a situation whereby you are trying to move on, but then the guy or the lady's family members are very close, like they are friends, maybe the guy's brother or the guy's sister is your best friend.
Relationship, it doesn't have to mar the relationship you have with the family, because once it's a family connection, it will be difficult to.
Or maybe the kind of relationship you have with the family is maybe you going there to visit the family. Maybe you started even
So
doing that
so you
before
begin,
you met the guy.
you begin to reduce the number of times you visit. If they want you to come, find an excuse. You don't have to be there. If they are not able to put their son right,
I mean, the sister can come.
Yes. Why do I always have to be the one coming? You also come. It's a relationship. It's a give and take. So if you want me to come, you know the situation. You don't expect me to come. You also come over.
And how do you deal with an ex who is not ready to let you go? Like he's out of your life, but just like you said, one leg is yes. Like this ex is not ready to go. Maybe they send you messages that look suggestive that this person still wants you around, but then maybe you feel like, no, I'm done with this and I'm trying to move on. But then the little messages or the text messages they send to you trigger something. How do you do it?
Well, so a lot depends on you and how serious you are about actually moving on. I always tell people that your thumb and the green button is always yours. The green button is on your phone, and then your thumb is yours. So to press the green button to receive the call it's your prerogative.
What about a text message?
The text messages come, just block the number.
Block
You just block the number.
So when you block, the person will know you're serious.
What I tell people to do is that don't just get out of your way to just do that. Just let the person understand that, listen, I've moved on. And I don't want to have anything to do with you. And I think that you don't want me to go. And so, please, it is not out of any malice or personal hatred for you, but I need you to understand that I moved on. And I'm not going to allow you to come into my space and mess this up. So I'm going to block you. So the person understands ahead of time. You have a conversation. I mean, it might not necessarily be a conversation. You can just send the person a text message. Now, this is what I'm going to do. So after this text message, you're not going to connect with me again. You block them off all social media. It's not necessarily because you hate them. No, you don't hate them. But
you are doing yourself a favor.
You
are doing yourself a favor. It's for you.
Yes,
for your
you need to move on. Because the person doesn't want you to go. I mean, think about it. Think about it. So you're standing at this bus station, and then you're waiting for a car to come and pick you. But then you're also having this conversation with this person, and this person is not willing to let you go join the bus. And you know that each time you miss a bus, chances are that the bus are getting fewer and fewer. Chances are that by the time it's 10 o'clock, no bus is coming. So then what do you have to do?
If you're on a landing street, it will take you another 1 hour or 45 minutes.
You really have to tell this person, I need to get into this bus, and I'm moving on. So in the same way, you and this person should be over, but the person is just engaging you. Anytime they are preventing you from moving on, it's another person you can't be with. You understand? Because if you are dating Kojo, you and Kojo are over, and then you want to move on and date probably Kwame, and then Kojo is still in your space. It is Kwame you can't date, because Kwame can't also be around and see this text message that is always coming on your phone, this suggestive move, and anytime I'm with you, you have to go out and go and receive a phone call. So sometimes you save yourself the stress by not dating. But you need to move on with your life. So if it means you have to block the person, it's out of hatred.
Not at all.
It's one person out of the 7-point-something billion human beings.
It's for your sanity. For me, I'll say you want to move on.
Yes.
Move on.
Do that after a year or two when you begin to believe that the person has gotten over you. You can just unblock them. I mean, it's a temporary measure.
When would you say that a particular person would have to see a psychologist or a therapist in order for them to heal well?
When they cannot move on in their lives. They're stuck in one place, so they become depressive or depressed. They become suicidal. They are always crying and seeing the ghost of their past. Usually you see it in their eating disorder. They tend to have certain eating disorder. They are either eating a lot of sugar, ice cream and sweets, or they are eating stuff, a lot of protein, a lot of processed food, a lot of junk food. They are putting on weight, or they are losing weight because they are not eating. These are signs of depression. And you can actually link it directly to that relationship because they're not having problems at work. So once you begin to pick these telltales, then you know that it is time for you to see a specialist. Go see somebody, let them take you through.
And I also think that when it gets to that point, family and friends should try as much as possible to be there for the person. You should empathize with the person. And certain words shouldn't be said. Oh, this guy, he has hurt you. You see, when you put certain words out there, the person begins to think about how hurt the person is, and then they begin to cry again, and then they go, they become lonely. They want to be alone. They are in their indoors and they don't want to even come out. Family and friends should try as much as possible to be there. We should speak affirmative words to them. You can do this. Let's go through this together. It's a faith. It will go. You get out of it. You are strong. We believe in you. We know what you can do. Speak affirmative things for the person to come out. It helps. It helps. And I think when we go through such situation, we should also find the correct people to speak to, so that it helps us heal better. Because for me, if you want to cry,
someone asked a question, and the question is, would you advise her to maybe she has a best friend who happens to be a boy, a guy? Would you advise she confide in him when she's going through a breakup, the moving on? Because she might even end up falling in love with
exactly.
Would you advise that?
Normally when people
the best friend is the opposite sex?
Normally when people are going through such traumatic breakups, I normally don't encourage them to talk to the opposite sex. It's a recipe for disaster. It's a recipe for disaster. The guy, you know, an accident might happen. And sometimes if a person is sexually active, you know, when they feel warmth of the opposite sex during that period when they are very low and very vulnerable, that is the only thing they may want some point. Okay, so either they want sex, or they want alcohol, or they want food. You understand? Or sometimes they just want to build and everything. And you know, you start cuddling, and where does it end? You know, and we are grown-ups. I'm already having sex. So if we do one more sex, you can just call it an accident. Yes, and then you know, it just keeps going on.
Here for you. So is it advisable to move on with the person whom you have caught cheating on you?
No. So normally we try to play God, and we try to talk about forgiveness, and we try to talk about.
This is from Henry Nugloze.
Okay, we try to play God. We try to talk about forgiveness. We try to talk about second chances. Listen, we are not married. There is this preacher. He's an apologist, Ravi Zacharias. He says something. He says that during the period that you were dating, that is the period that the man is trying to prove to the woman that I'm the best in the market for you. That time the woman is trying to prove to the man that I am the best woman for you. If you catch them, are they showing they're the best person for you? This is when you give your best. This is when you project yourself. It's just like you are going to be interviewed for a job, or you want to be a employee. You started as intern, you know, and then you were drunk. Is that your best foot? Is that the best impression? You understand? So, and we all know that marriage is supposed to be sacred, right? In marriage, you're not supposed to be cheating. Now, so if you want me to marry you, don't you show me that when I marry you, you're not going to cheat on me. So if you are cheating on me even before marriage, then what are you showing me? How are you convincing me that if I make you my own, I'm going to have you for myself? But before you even get to the place of catching them cheating and then deciding what to do, I always say that when you start dating, and this comes to the women, I say this to the women, when you start dating, when you meet a guy that you think that you like, you're excited about and everything, one of the things that you need to tell him is, master, I know that in this part of the world, when a man cheats, we clap for him. And then it's the woman's fault. The woman who didn't dress well, who didn't cook well, who didn't talk well. That's why the man wants to. Master, when you cheat, your problem. And the day you cheat, that's the day this relationship ends. Let the man understand from day one that there is not going to be any I'm sorry when you cheat. It at least makes the man think twice. We live in a society where men think that I can cheat and I can buy her a toffee, or I can take her to Dubai, or I can buy a flat screen or the latest iPhone, and then it is over. So then we don't think hard about it, then we cheat. You see the way women do all they can to hide it when they are cheating. Like they go heaven and earth to be sure, because they know that the day they are caught,
kill people,
because they know that the day they are caught, there is no forgiveness for them. I mean, it's an unwritten statement. Every woman knows when I'm caught, that's my end. But men, they don't care. You understand? So I think that from day one, let it be clear. But if you're not married to the person, me, I will tell you, relationship is like a lab experience or a lab experiment. Small, everything is in one room. But whatever happens in one room, that is where after the test, they bring it to the rest of the world. So they test the medicine. When they are preparing the medicine, they test it on animals. When it doesn't kill them or it works, then they bring small human beings. They test it on them. If it works, they bring it to all of us. So relationship is like that. The little things you are seeing, they are the little things that eventually becomes a normal thing. So when he's beating you, when he's assaulting you, when he's cheating, that's a lab experiment. Once you stay and you are comfortable with it, you know that you can endure. When you marry, then that becomes your experience.
There's a question for you, said Mrs. Elizabeth Osubredi. As a HR personnel, has there been a particular trait, trend, or symptom as a professional you have captured in employees with relationship issues you have worked with, and how have you dealt with it without compromising on your work ethics?
In the first place, I'm not an HRL.
I don't know why.
I'm not an HR expert. So, but in my position, if I should have, okay, you take the question.
Okay, so as HR personnel, has there been a particular trait, trend, or symptom as a professional you have captured in employees with relationship issues you have worked with, and how have you dealt with it without compromising on your work ethics?
Okay, so I haven't dealt with anything
like
of that sort, but if I'm to have my agents be in a compromising situation, I think, like Sebastian said, it's just a matter of listening to them. Listen to the two of them. There should be a process in the company. So we'll go through the listening process and we'll have a crucial conversation. And where we need to move either of them, we'll move.
Just like you said.
Yes. Yeah. They don't have to go home. It's their personal thing. Just that it will affect the business. It will affect our revenue and our income. So we need to protect our company. So if we have the crucial conversation, find out from them who wants to move. We need to move one of you. Let us move them.
Okay, and this is to PG. Said PG Sebastian, as a counselor, what role does psychology play a vital role in the healing process, or in all spiritual than psychological?
Oh no, when it comes to healing, it's more psychological, more emotional than spiritual. I think that we come from a part of the world where everything is spiritualized. You know, sometimes sometimes there's no demon anywhere. We are.
I think spiritual, what he means by spiritual is praying into it like this. By prayer, I think I'll be healed.
So prayer has its place. Prayer has its place. Prayer across all cultures, across all religions, whether it's Christianity, Islam, or traditional, or Buddhist, or whatever. Prayer is therapeutic. You know, prayer is a form of therapy. So once you go through that prayer and you believe that you're going to be healed, I mean, you see, faith is the underlying thing, whether you pray or you don't pray. So once you go through that phase, yes, you are likely to come out of it. But then you need to learn some lessons, and you need to deal with something. Sometimes you don't need to keep things in you and for you to develop a thick skin on it. Sometimes you need to heal, okay? Because think about it, if you're always praying because you are being abused or you were abused and you prayed after the abusive relationship, then you feel better. What next when you get into your next relationship? You will need someone to actually talk you into it that these are the signs of abuse. Once you begin to see X, Y, Z, then you need to take precaution. You need to actually talk about it, seek help, you know, from a competent person. Prayer is there. Prayer is more of a backup. But you need to deal with the human aspect of it, because you are not dealing with spiritual entities, you are dealing with human beings, and you need to understand the human component or human aspect of this love. I mean, why are you praying when you dated for 2 years and you probably never prayed about it? You understand?
And for me, I think you really need to also focus on the word of God if you are going to go spiritual. For me, I would even downplay a bit on prayer, but I'll focus more on the word of God, because that is where the healing actually comes in. As you read the word of God, okay, it brings you some kind of peace of mind. Yes, and it renews and transforms your mind and your whole being. And for me, I would downplay a bit on prayer. Would pray, but maybe you are going to pray that God would bring somebody who understands you and loves you better.
Maybe you could talk to your pastor.
Yes.
And then they would be able to help you
Yes.
physically and
And
spiritually.
spiritually, yeah. But I think you
But
should
then you
focus
should
more on the
still
word of
have
God.
a psychologist.
A psychologist, yes.
Yes. I think a lot of people are praying when they don't even know the word of God.
Exactly.
So then really what are you praying
Praying
about?
about.
So people are just throwing words in the air and then making conjectures and pulling and binding and tearing and loosing and you realize that what they are even praying about or the scriptures they are using to pray, it's even inconsistent with what they are going through. So your personal relationship with God matters. Your understanding of the word of God matters.
In that situation.
In that situation. But if you are not sure, because then again, when you are going through such depressed moment, when you're going through such phase, even your ability to pray is affected. And sometimes you begin to, you open your mouth and then all you do is to cry. and listen, it's not pity party.
At all.
Sometimes you need to talk to someone. What I will tell people, I think along the line it came up, but I didn't make a comment about it, so I want to touch on it. When it comes to talking to people, be careful who you talk to. Some people parade themselves as counselors, and I don't say this to slight anyone, but I'm saying this advisedly for people to understand that people are counseling out of their pain. Some people call themselves counselors, but they are people who have gone through a lot of abuse, pain, and they think that they've learned something so they can share. I don't have a problem with that. But be careful who is counseling you. It's not counseling you from a place of pain. Because the only thing they will see is dark and gloom and doom. So be careful. Some people are also counseling you, but they can't connect to your problem. You are being a woman who has been abused and you've gone through certain kind of lifestyle that has led you into so many things. And this person has never even dated more than 2 people. The only person who's dated is the husband, hasn't been beaten before, So you are saying so many things. She's trying to understand, but sometimes.
And then the only thing you can say is, don't worry, everything will be
fine. Exactly. So I always tell people that I am a trained counselor. Okay, I'm a trained family coach. And I always tell people that I don't need to have been married for so long to understand some things. There are certain things that are psychological. They are not based on experience because your experience is different from my experience. Right. So if you're even going to look at experience, how then do you counsel me? Because you don't even understand my experience. You understand? So while there is the experience bit, while there is the maturity bit, there is also something that knowledge, because we are not the ones to invent the wheels. Marriage has been there a long time. People have actually studied marriage and they've written manuals and they've written things. Just study it. And because you yourself are also married and you have experience, you bring the experience, the knowledge together, then you are balanced. So many people have experience, so many people know what they are doing, but they don't have the knowledge. So even how to counsel, where to counsel, when to say some things, and even when it becomes needful for you to refer a case, because sometimes you are talking to a particular person of the opposite sex, you are counseling them. There is always a point where you know that no, I need to refer this lady, because if I'm not careful, the next time I see this woman, our relationship will change. But some people don't know how to do that. So generally, who you are talking to matters. Some people may genuinely want to help you, but they end up probably compounding the problem.
That is true. Okay, so my last question to you is, how do you move from a stage of denial that this relationship is over to get to the stage of moving on and healing?
You should get, okay, so.
Because sometimes you're in a relationship, you've been dumped, there's nothing you can do about it, but you still feel like you are still in a relationship with this person. How do you come to an understanding that, madam, move on, heal?
Acknowledge it. Just acknowledge the fact that this relationship is not working, or is not working for you.
But it's not working for the other person.
Yes, it's working for the other person. If it's not working for you, why are you still in it? You have other things to do. You have other things to accomplish. It's not moving on. The person is not respecting you. The person is not loving you. The person is not placing value on you. Just acknowledge the fact that this thing is not working for me. And when you get to that point, if you accept it, then you'll be able to know that, okay, it's time to move on. And then you will begin to the process.
Okay.
Well, I think that, like she said, you need to first admit that this relationship is over. Like it's over for real. You are not dreaming. you've snapped yourself out of it. And the reality is that the guy is still not calling, or the lady is still not calling. And then the last time you attempted to get in touch with them, they told you that it's actually over. So it is over. You need to accept it, because until you come to the place of acceptance, you can't help yourself, you can't move on. And nobody can help you accept something. Acceptance is a personal decision. It's a personal choice. You decide that it's not worth it being tied to the apron strings of this man or this woman. It's not worth it still waking up and holding my phone and then expecting that I'll get a text from them or they'll call me. It's not worth it still going to their office, stalking them and telling people to go and talk for me. It is a relationship. It is not marriage. Always remember, it is a relationship. And I always tell people that better to move on from a bad relationship than to stay in it. Let it lead to marriage, then later you get a divorce. Because divorce has a lot of implications. Breaking up hasn't got any implication. The only thing people will be saying is that you just keep moving from people to people. Will you die? But if you divorce, it has legal implications. Assuming you've been married for like 2 years, you've gone through all the name changes, you've probably done a new passport. Now you wake up one morning and you are divorced. You have to go through the whole process again. Assuming there are children involved, you complicate the whole thing. If the guy tells you it is over, or the lady tells you it is over.
It's over.
And I believe that when they tell you, try and have that closure, try and have that last minute conversation. Even if you are not getting them to sit with you, to talk with you, send them that text message. I mean, if after you try to call them a couple of times, send them that text message. So Kwame, so Grace, I am trying to understand this. XYZ is what you are saying, and this is how I understand it. Is this my position? Once they tell you that this is my position, this is your position, then you know that it is really, really over. They might not reply, but silence means consent. Then you just move on. But you need to admit it. It's painful. It's not simple as we make it sound. But, well, whether it's painful or not, somebody has to move on.
Yeah. Okay, so in your final words, in 1 minute, past relationship, moving on with clarity, what would you say?
I would say that acknowledge the fact that the relationship is not working for you. You need to keep your sanity in check, and you have other things to do. So please focus on your purpose, focus on your dreams, focus on a better you, and then make sure that you are moving on and you are moving on well.
Okay, thank you. RPG?
What I'll tell people is that when it comes to breaking up, give yourself time. While you deal with the initial stages of the breakup, time helps. While you deal with whether they want to see a counselor, whether they want to see a psychologist, whatever strategy or whatever trick that you put in, always remember that time heals as well. So you're going to give yourself some time. I started by saying that 3 months is good, but if you want to extend it to 6 months to a year, do that. But it's very important that you give yourself time, time to heal, time to get all the residue out of you, time to begin to think outside the box, think outside of that ex-relationship, time to begin to see yourself as you and not in the image of this person, time to actually completely be rid of that person, and definitely you can start a new relationship.
Okay. Would you want to give your number out since you're a family coach?
Yes, my number is 0554 849792. 0554 849792. But I would also want anybody who wants to do a booking. It has a small fee. If you want to do a booking, you go to my website, pgsebastian.com. The Sebastian is S-E-B, not Sebastian, sebastian.com/book-online. pgsebastian.com/book-online.
You just said Sebastian.
Sebastian? Yes, pgsebastian.com/book-online. And then, you get to make your booking, and then we'll talk some more.
Thank you for coming. I really had fun. Thank you so much. All right, so this is where we take our cue. Thank you so much for staying with us. God bless you. She will invite people for church tomorrow.
Okay, so tomorrow we are inviting you to come to church with us we are at Adenta Spirit Life Revival Ministries, just opposite Thoughts to Teens. It starts at 8:30 a.m. See you in church.
Okay, and Prophetic Mystery Signs and Tokens starts tomorrow,
27th of
PG is lost.
October. We are starting 27th of October, and we are ending next week on the 3rd of November from 6 p.m. each night. Make sure you are there.
So invite your friends and loved ones, and God will bless you. Thank you for staying with us. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
And spiritually, I have been taken out of this place. And I am now around Ahima Kopop. I have gotten to a place. Humasi number 1. I'm now at Humasi number 2. I have now gotten to Adansi Chechirawire. And suddenly, I have moved from there and I've gotten to a junction. The junction on the left hand side, you are going to Akokari. The junction is called Bongobri. I am there right now. What is Bongobri?
We live around that area.
You live around that area. Many years ago, the Lord released a man of God into your life, even though and into your family. He was called Deborah.
Yes, he was my
Head pastor Deborah
Hamoy.
Hey.